I'm Leslie McIntosh, and I'm going to be the moderator for this. I am a professor at Washington University, and I also have founded and oversee the St. Louis Machine Learning and Data Science Meetup, which is free to attend if anyone's interested. But we're going to have each of the panelists here introduce themselves. And before I forget, this is also sponsored by 1904 Labs. And we had a slide, but everybody should have in their possession one of these big and fast data maturity models that we're going to go over during this session.
So I'm Jeffery Phillips. I'm over enterprise architecture at Centene, as well as a couple of our strategic platforms that are focused on API and real-time data. I have, been in healthcare IT for 20 plus years, both on the, what you call the provider or the doctor side, as well as the payer side. My primary role at Centene is really to help each of the different teams connect, with it, business and IT partnering together so people, process, and technology and kind of help innovate. We have lots of buildings, as you've probably noticed, around St. Louis. My groups are not in any of the places where you would normally see a sign. We're down at the Cortex area at the CIC. So I'm not sure I would put a number on one of ours. There's a couple of small pockets where I'd say we're a 5, and then there's some others where we're a 1, frankly. So where we would like to be, obviously, is much more. I don't know if we need to get all the way to 5 for all of our different data sets and for all of our lines of business, but moving to a 4, I think, would be the kind of sweet spot for us, so that we can, make sure that we have data available, because that's almost our most important intellectual property is our data, and how we treat it, how we protect it, and how we share it with the right people. Right. So I would say that's very near and dear to us at this point. We've merged with a company the same size out in California, and we're still merging. In very different IT philosophies, different IT practices, and so it's been difficult, or challenging, I won't say difficult, to make sure that we can find all of the data and start to work towards, that canonical model, and trying to kind of get it into a cohesive environment. And so, for the most part, our data scientists, our analytics teams, they're spending 80% of their time scrubbing data and pulling data and extracting data, and we definitely want to get past that so that we can move to the next level, because that's a lot of wasted time that we don't have at this point with the growth that we've had. Yeah, and I think just to add on to what Laura was saying, I try to think of data in 3 different ways, right? There's the past, present, and future. The past is your historical, that's your badge. I still need to do compliance reporting. I still need to look at historical trends. I use that kind of batch data as well to kind of predict the future. So sometime in the future, we know that one of our members is going to go into the hospital for some condition, because we've looked at the history. But the fast data, the real-time data, it's what do I need to do right now? I've got one of our members, one of your patients on the phone. What do I need to do right now? And that's a very different model. That's not looking at the past data, but it is using what I've collected, what I've aggregated, what I've analyzed, to say for this one piece of information, I can bounce that up against the model and say this is what I need to do right now. So we kind of coin, we use a term, next best action. What do I need to do right now? And then what's the next one? And then what's the next one? And it's very different to kind of look at all of that fast data, the velocity side of big data, and say, what is that one thing I need to pull out of there and really use? So that's where we start talking about, the streaming data as a part of the Lambda architecture. So I think the only thing I would add, because I think we're all fairly similar, is, well, first, Centene is hiring, just so you all know. We're growing and we continue to grow. So a big part of it is really getting the Centene name out there, that we are a St. Louis-based headquartered company. When I started with Centene, 10 years ago, people were like, is that a bubble gum or something? Centene? No, that's Dentine. So it's been great to see, getting a little bit more name brand recognition, doing these types of things and talking with the community as much as possible, I think helps out so that people can kind of see that we have a lot of the same shared goals. I think importantly for STEM individuals is giving them a challenge. If they know they have a challenge and we're here to offer them a challenge, and we can provide a supportive environment for that challenge, that's very attractive to people, in the field that we're in. And I think that's probably the most important thing. If people are bored or they have to do COBOL or something like that, they're probably not going to be too happy. So no bash on COBOL.
Thank you. So the question is to Jeff, when he said that he wasn't aspiring to be a 5 on the maturity model. And so talk more about that.
So I think I said it maybe a little bit different. There's a nuance, right? Not aspiring to be a 5 across the board, right? So if you've heard the Gartner bimodal, kind of speech, our systems of record, we're not looking to necessarily innovate on there. We don't want a lot of fast change. We don't want to, innovate, something that's very, rigid and solid. Whereas, for some of our more innovative parts of IT and of our business, that's really where we want to strive to be a 5. So it's not something that we want to necessarily be across the board. Maybe we'll get there, but I just think that our sweet spot is much more on a 4. With lots of pockets of 5s that are there when they need to be. Just thinking of that, composability is such a big thing when you're growing and you're expanding your lines of business, and that really means that you're going to need pockets of those that then can assemble really quickly and be able to supplement with your systems of record type things. So I'd say a little bit different. So I don't have 240 clinical databases. I couldn't even imagine that. But, our problem is not necessarily, so we're mainly health insurance for government-based programs. We can't go and choke a state's throat, right? That's our partner, right? So we get, variety of different data that is of, questionable quality. Let's be honest. And as well, we also try to partner with hospitals and our providers. And again, we want to partner. We don't want to, necessarily disenfranchise them. So we deal with a lot with bad data. We spend a lot of time cleaning it up, is all we do right now. Where I see it going, and there's probably a level 6 or 7, Cliff, which is, starting to look at some of the AI and the mediated, APIs that can figure this stuff out on its own. Because what are we basically doing? We're looking at it and we're saying, well, this kind of lines up and that kind of lines up, so we need to clean it. Wouldn't it be great if we could all do that with, some of the automated, AI type things? And so that's some of the things we're dabbling in, for some of the more structured data. The unstructured data, now we're talking NLP and, some of that other types of things to clean it up in advance beforehand. So it's not an easy answer in healthcare by any means. So.